Hello everyone, and welcome to the stream, Workshop Wednesday. I'm joined by Matt.
Hello everybody!
We're trying a different system, so hopefully we won't have any problems with it this time.
Yeah, keep an eye on what it's like and let us know. We're not using Teams tonight; we're using Discord, so we'll see whether or not it works. Let us know.
Yep. So we are driving the Thames Clyde Express on the Settle and Carlisle line it's 1975. I can't remember who made the route off the top of my head.
The Settle Carlisle 1970s.
Yeah, 1970s. That's the one.
So that's Stuart.
Yes, Stuart 666.
Memory so.
Yeah.
666. There you go.
Yeah.
Stuart.
So we have got, good afternoon driver, you are set at Settle Station in charge of a northbound Thames Clyde Express. Your rebuilt Royal Scot locomotive will be hauling a 9 Mark 1 coaches over the long drag to Appleby. In this leg of the journey, begin by allowing the passengers to board here before you set off. Better let them in. So we have got...
So yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah, we've got... Royal Scot is Queen Victoria's Rifleman. Like.
Very nice. Lovely logo. This is a Bossman Games logo, isn't it?
Yeah. Make sure I set the right headboard.
Let me move my microphone a bit closer. Hopefully that'll be a bit louder, folks. Let me know. We can still hear you. Can you sit further from my microphone? Who let baked bean kid in? We need better bouncers.
Lakes Express. There we go.
Binary Ron on Twitch says, I guess Matt picked the train since it's Steam. No. Jamie's a Steam fan too.
Yeah, yeah.
Jamie picked these tonight. I wholeheartedly agree, but I didn't pick them.
Alright. Get in the cab. Very, very detailed cab. What I am going to do is I am going to put the automatic fireman on so I can concentrate on the injectors.
Excellent. Beautiful. All the Bossman Game stuff is really top quality. It's really, really nice.
It is a lovely
really
loco.
Physics.
Yeah.
Harry Whittle, yes, I can see the chat. I'm actually watching on YouTube tonight for a change. I normally watch on Twitch, but tonight I'm watching on YouTube.
Let's get the reverser in the right setting. Not too high. Right, we got the right of way. Let's get you in there. Well, nearly there. You have to actually get it in the notches. That's how close you have to be with this. If not, it won't actually sit right.
It tends to float and spin around.
Yeah. Alright, let's get the brakes off anyway. While I'm sorting the reverser out. There we go. Now we're in the same. There we go. Right, slowly coming off.
I can see you as well, Moggy.
Yeah.
I'm watching you with a slight lag, unfortunately. So.
Oh, we've got a black 5 now coming over. We'll go to the other side. Here we go. we're off.
Terry Butler, you like the Royal Scots too? Also, the merchant name is good too. Yeah, I mean, they're the merchant names.
Yeah.
There's no bad Steam engines, let's be honest, there's no bad Steam
Sure, we have me air vent a bit. Get a bit warm in the cab. There we go. I do love the Royal Scots. It's something about the third beat. Third cylinder. I'm imagining it as being amazing.
This is just such a beautiful room. I mean, it was the Skipton, the Saddle Carlisle room is available on Steam, and then this is a workshop room, right, which backdates it up and extends it to Skipton and Elephant.
Oh, does it? Ah.
I think if you go and have a look at the map, you should find it actually extends it a bit further on.
So this is the full map. So I think this is... There's Carlisle up there. So if we go the other way... Yeah, there's Skipton. Down there.
We extended it all the way to Skipton, which is possibly one of the
Yeah.
So the route is well known for being settled in Carlisle, but we don't really stop it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm a bit on the quiet side. I don't know what you...
Yeah, I'm now turning you up a bit to see if I can turn myself down a bit, because I'm breaking the sound barrier.
Being Kid and Moggy especially are asking me for my mic to be turned up.
Can you hear a bit better then?
Can you hear me a bit better, folks? Baked Bean Kid, how's the audio? Is it much better now? Is it vastly improved? Moggy, how about you? Are you thinking it's vastly improved at this point?
Needs more. Right, okay. Give me a minute. How's that? Try that.
Testing 1 2. This is a test. 1 2. This is a test. This is just making sure that Moggy and Baked Bean Kid can hear me fully and in hi-fi.
I've tried a different button. I think that might have worked. I realised on Discord you were a bit quiet. You might be a bit louder now.
Good. Excellent.
There we go. That should be better.
So testing your patience, Moggy. Excellent. We need to test everything, to be fair. Baked Bean Kid says I'm off his Christmas card. This young Pedalston. Well, Pedalston. You can stay just for calling me young Pedalston.
Right, let's get the injectors open. Trimmer.
Injectors are interesting on this one.
Yes, yeah.
It's got a more realistic simulation. You don't just spray open. Normally when you're doing injection, the injection of water. For those of you that don't know, the problem you're trying to solve with injecting water into a boiler is you're taking cold water from a normal atmospheric pressure and putting it into a steam-filled high-pressure boiler. How do you put something into something that's higher pressure than where it's coming from? That's difficult without letting all of the pressure out of the thing. You can't like open a tap and pour the water in, because, well, that wouldn't work. That would just silly. So what you end up doing is, I can't remember the guy's name, it's a Frenchman who invented this injector system. And what it does is you run either live steam or exhausted steam first. This is when steam injector comes in. And it runs through, the steam through this injector. And then it sprays the water into that, which effectively then takes the steam, the steam takes the water back into the boiler, which means that you can bring it into there. But you've got to balance the controls to do that. So you've got to get them in the right order. You've got to get them at the right levels, and then you can hear it singing. Now I can't hear the audience, so I don't know whether or not you can hear that on the screen. But is that coming through, Jamie?
No, I'm struggling a little bit at the moment, so we're getting there. We're getting there. I think I might not have opened them quite far enough.
Ed can provide assistance. Come on, Ed. Tell us what we need to do. So yeah, you get the controls, and then when you get it right, you can hear it, and it starts singing, and then you know that you're getting water going into the system. And there's a few steam locos that have got some vegetables advanced 3F as well. I think all the Bossman games have got it implemented. So you just use that. Don't some have mechanical pumps? You use mechanical pumps normally, when it's at low pressure, like to get the water in the first place. And what that'll be is it'll be keyed off of the like a really older steam engines, for example, like the old 18th century stuff. The smoke box did was all done based on a mechanical pump connected to the wheels, so you had to be moving to pump water in. Kevin McGowan says Henri Giffard was the I'm sorry, I couldn't remember who it was, but it was yes, it was. I was reading up about it because I was curious to know. I understand sort of the idea of it, but I wanted to understand more about how it came about and so forth. So it's a really interesting system. It's really clever, and if you get all the valves right, then you can water it. But you do need to learn how to do that, which is fine. Speaking of, it's fine. How are you getting on the watering it?
Well, we're struggling a bit for pressure at the moment. So, Dave,
what's your cut-off?
My cut-off is not too bad. 35, between 35 and 25.
Your brakes are in release. Pop your brakes back into running. Losing a bunch of steam doing that. Mr. Fisk, what's the ideal fire mass for this? Oh, this thing's running on auto fireman, so we shouldn't have to worry about that.
No.
But you do need your brakes on. You got your large ejector open. Which is the big wheel. Get your large ejector closed and just trim it with your small ejector.
Pressure's coming up again now.
Yeah, having your brakes running in release is a bad time.
Yeah. Plus we're going with a big gradient at the moment. So.
The thing is, this gradient. This is the thing that's sort of the challenge here, the long drag as they call it, is that Settle to Carlisle is essentially a steep grade to about Appleby and then Denton, and then a shallow grade down to Carlisle, sort of roughly speaking. And this is the steep side of it. So this is the challenge, and it's really good fun actually. This is where you learn to drive the fire better. You let the boiler pressure come up, but you need to keep the speed going. Have you got your dampers open?
I haven't got the dampers open actually.
Well, there you go. That should help. And then what I would do is ease the power up a little bit, just to so that you're on the edge of getting increasing the boiler pressure, but getting a bit more power up.
Oh, they already are open, I think. Yep. we're getting somewhere, just rather slowly.
Jared Collins, is Train Sim World 2 better than Train Sim 2020? I presume in both cases you mean Train Sim World rather than Train Sim. Train Sim World 2 is sort of what follows on from Train Sim World 2020. So yes, definitely. I think almost all of the content from Train Sim World 2020 is now made it across Train Sim World 2 as well. There's only 1 or 2 iterations of Preserved Collection left, and then the only thing we will stuff that isn't coming across, which is the Northern Corridor. Ryan's Rail, the scenario and the route are both Steam Workshop, yes.
Yeah, yeah, both the Steam Workshop. Let's try.
Boiler pressure's back up to 172 and growing. The speed is coming back up again, so just keep those balancing those. Because as you speed up, obviously your steam consumption will speed up. So you need to keep just checking your regulator so that you don't suddenly find yourself not gaining pressure.
Yeah. You can hear that hissing sound, and that's basically the injectors that's pushing steam through the injectors, and it's trying to find that right, so it doesn't make that hissing noise all the time.
About 53%. We're not in any desperate straits at the moment.
No.
I'll just figure it out together. Alright.
I'll get
Train.
there. Yeah, AF, yeah. Let's go and have a look at the AF, shall we? This is also...
Sorry, Binary Ron, I missed your question. Ask it again, and if I can answer it, I will. David, no, Jamie forgot and left the brakes on release, so...
Yeah, my mistake.
Sam's super secret project that he's hoping will be released in December. I actually have no idea what that means at all. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that secret code name.
I think the injector's wrong. I think at this rate we might blow it up at this rate.
You're at 38, which is 37%, so yes, I would be, you're on level ground, so I would definitely figure it out. Maybe get rid of the, if you can't hear the cylinders, your injectors, great, cut your power, control that first. Let's get rid of some noise.
Oh, wrong end. Get there in a minute. There we go.
Got them?
I think I've got them now.
Let's see if that number goes up. Without the cheese really going up as we go up, because that's not it.
Yeah.
What are the wagons included the new German shunter used for? So, the new German shunter uses 3 areas of Rosine that haven't been used before, one of which is the cement plant. Those are cement wagons. CS. Which went up to 46%.
Yeah, it's going up, just rather slowly, I think.
Paul's asking, Nick K says they still can't hear me.
I got you up full there. And
Let's turn the game now.
yes. Let's just do that.
It's most important that you can hear me. Then people don't need to hear the game.
Oh, it's 'cause
what
I've
are
got
the three
reset.
areas, Chris? Yeah, use the volume mixer in Windows.
Ah.
What are the three areas? Ball logging, Hohenlimberg steel, and the cement plant near Ball. Ribblesdale, so we're almost at the Ribblehead Viaduct, which comes up just next. Famous landmark on the route. Now, who remembers what was parked in the siding on the left here at Wall in Microsoft Trains? That'll be a stretch for you.
I think I can just about remember. But I'll wait for the chat first.
Moggy says Mark 1 coaches. Ed says some low poly Loco. Well, that's narrowing it down, Ed. That's narrowing it down. Enter the Dragon thinks it's a donkey. Can diesel trains and electric trains struggle going up steep hills even at full power? Yes. At some point, you run out of power. At some point, you don't have enough power to get up the hill, and you'll stop. You might wheel slip. You might get dragged back down the hill again. So yeah, any locomotive has a finite amount of power, and if you put too many wagons behind it and not enough adhesion on the ground, then maybe if you've got 100% and you put too much weight behind it, you can find you just don't have enough power to top the hill. That's why you find American trains often have got 4 locomotives on the front, because if you just have 2, you wouldn't make it. God, it's just throwing everything at the wall. If you fire all of the darts that are board to hit everything, it doesn't count. No, it was Pendennis Castle. Pendennis Castle sat there. Did I work on the original Microsoft Train Simulator? No. I was just an avid fan member of the community. I was one of the first people to actually have a copy in the UK because I got it pre-release. But for no other reason than in a competition. It was really silly. It was one of those competitions that legally they wouldn't even be allowed to do it, because you're not allowed to do competitions. A competition with an obvious answer is a raffle. So these days they wouldn't even be allowed to do that. But it was, what colour is the green Flying Scotsman? You know, green. Yeah, you won! So yeah, I got a copy of Microsoft Train Sim 2 weeks before it launched, and a Microsoft mouse, because obviously that's what you need. Do I remember the Hizatsu line? Yeah, I used to enjoy it. I played all the stuff. I played MSTS to death. I loved it. It's like, wow, train simulators on the PC. Wow, this is just amazing. Now look at us. Seriously, now look at us. Look at what we were so impressed with MSTS, and now look at what we have in train simulation.
Yeah.
Have I still got that Microsoft mouse? No, probably not. Moggy, you got yours 4 months. Yeah. that water still going in?
I don't know. It seems to be playing up. So here we go. Right. So I've definitely got some water dripping down there, so you can actually see it and hear it. Put that on.
I think you need steam first.
I thought it was.
There's a very narrow range on the trimmer for it to operate, isn't it?
Oh, I think something happened there, possibly.
It's best to do it with the mouse and then don't touch it.
See if it stays level. Still coming down.
33%. This could be bad, folks.
Yeah.
This could be bad. We're not in bad spaces yet, although fortunately we're not going to be going downhill because things would get really uncomfortable if we were going downhill.
Oh, another black 5. A very mixed rate as well. Try that.
Are we singing yet?
It's certainly making a noise. It certainly sounds as if it's singing.
Let's just see how it is when it's on the water gauge.
Well, it's not going down now. It's staying level.
So far.
Now it's gone down. The only thing is trying to get where you want to be for that. It's right underneath the seat.
Oh dear. You got the injector, the steam.
Yep.
Is it possible the king of the HST's Class 43 also struggled to get up steep hills even at full power? Not really, because it was 2 power cars with 9 coaches, so relatively overpowered, really. That's what we're missing about the injectors. The oil pressure is suffering. Still confused about why boilers blow up when you lose water. It was not the firebox had a fuse plug that melted, but not too hot. It does. If you expose the fusible plugs, then they're exposed to the full heat of the steam, which melts them, and then the steam goes blasting out of the boiler under the engine and so forth. And that's basically that for the engine until it goes into maintenance and they can repair it. So they don't explode, or not unless you're a number of things have to go wrong before a steam engine will explode like that. Now, it's the safety valve. You've got more than one safety valve, and one of the safety valves vents steam at quite a significant rate. You've got the little trimmer valve at the front, and then you've got the big valve at the back. So if you overpressure the boiler, it can get itself down quite quickly. And then you've got the fusible plugs, if you don't have water in the boiler, to vent that very quickly, which means that it doesn't cause that. Repairing that damage with the fusible plugs is a non-trivial thing, but it doesn't mean that the steam engine shouldn't explode these days.
Yeah.
They never used to have even safeties, let alone fusible plugs, so it had to be...
Yeah.
Oh, Ed says, once the plugs do drop, you've got to get that fire out of the firebox pretty quickly, as you are a ticking time bomb at that point before something catastrophic happens. So basically, then it buys you some time. It buys you some time. David, we were asking about the FPS and memory usage. The FOV and memory usage. I'm not entirely sure how it affects memory usage. I know it definitely affects frame rate. If you zoom in, it's trying to see further. It's trying to render things that are normally farther away and doing a lot more assets at a lot higher detail than it normally would, and therefore the frame rate suffers if you zoom in a lot further. Zooming out means there's more on screen that's local to you. Again, that can cause the frame rate to suffer a bit as well. I'm not sure how it affects memory. It's possibly, I mean, if Adam's been talking to the team about it, it may be a quirk of how Unreal does things. These things.
Yeah. Well, I must admit, our water came up a little bit and then is now staying at steady 25, so our pressure is going down quite precipitously. I'm not very good at Loco management at the moment.
Yeah, this is the challenge with the Loco like this. You've got to learn the settings. One of the people in the chat earlier on actually said there's something that I generally do as well, is to leave those trims alone and just use the injectors, because they're actually in the right place to start off with.
Right.
Yeah, if you leave them alone, then you can. Oh, Ed says he just put the further assistance on. Ed, why are you telling me this now? What's the button to put further assistance on, Ed? I only know about Control R. Apparently there's a just fix it button.
Is there if there's a just fix it button, that would be fantastic.
You can cycle them with the headlight button on the HUD.
Ah, of course.
Obviously, this would have been our next fix. The injector trimmer valves are now automatically set to the correct position.
Right, so we need it on top. Do this. And again.
Binary Run, you have a new theory on the forums about Sam's secret update. Go on, what is it? What are you thinking? I'm getting a little bit concerned about when we get some level 1.
Yeah, we're currently at 17%.
And that's only because you're going uphill at the minute.
Yeah.
Hey, really fun second. How's it going? What else do we need to do to enable this?
Oh, hang on, water pressure's coming up now. It's coming up. Just jumped up to 21%, and now it's at 20.
Right, so part of the problem now is your boiler pressure is so low, your brakes are playing.
Yeah.
So at this point, I would actually bring it to a stop.
Yeah.
So you're coming to a stop whether you want to or not at this point.
As you can see, they're blowing it. It's all going on, I must admit. Well, I must admit, at least we stopped at the right place. I mean...
1 in 100 is not a bad thing. But hopefully it means we can we can check our water now without it being used. Oh yes, the divider. Is this a divider? Yeah.
Yeah.
What you might need to do actually is get rid of the HUD there. Go to the F3 HUD. I have a sneaky suspicion that the injectors get overridden by the F4 HUD, so you might need to use the F3 HUD and then maybe pop it off entirely and use the F5 display.
Right. Like that.
Still getting updates on my side.
Because the injectors just seem to be fully on. Like, I've gone through the lamp settings. Right.
You press F5 once more to get both displays up.
Right, let's turn off the injectors totally. Right, let's do that and then cycle through it again.
Ed says not entirely sure, check the tender valve. Alright, so let's do a few back in the cab and check the tender valve. Can you put the blower on while you're here actually?
Yep. Where that's gone.
Empty. N.
That should be open.
We're not using the HUD Steam Trains Unlimited, we're using the assists.
A tender valve. This one? No, that's the handbrake. That's the one, isn't it?
I don't know. Remember, I'm watching this about 30 seconds behind what you're looking at me.
That's true.
Steam train with PZB. So there is a German steam train on Steam that's little. It's a tank engine, German one that's got PZB. It's great. Remember what the number of it was? That was great.
Right, so the water is now going up. It's now on 24, so it's now going up.
Okay.
And the pressure is now coming up as well.
So Steam Trains Unlimited, apparently Ed tells us that using the headlights button you can turn on additional support, which will actually do the injectors as well. BR86, that's the one.
Yeah.
Ed says, turn trimmer assist off. It seems to be messed up and the right injector is set incorrectly.
Right, so trimming assist is, which one do I need to turn off for that one? Ed, is that going through the lamps again?
Yes, I think that was how you turned it on. Yeah, you do need to get rid of that HUD and stay on the F3 and the F5 display though, because the HUD is overriding all of the injection and firing controls.
Right. So let's go on to F3 and then go through the headlight controls again. Is that basically
See you later, Darren Collins? Yeah, I think so. See you later, Darren Collins. I must admit, I rarely have that HUD up at all these days.
Yeah.
Because it causes so many problems with steam trains.
Now,
Good evening, James Humble. If you press F5 twice, you get more information in the top left corner.
There we go.
Yes, it does. Steam Trains Unlimited. It is literally every frame. It's sending updates to all the controls to set them to how they appear to be on the HUD. So it's stamping on everything that anything else is doing. What's our water level looking like? We're at 0.28. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's coming up. How's the boiler pressure doing?
Currently at 190.
Okay, that's coming up now as well. I'd put your cut-off forward and open your drains so that they're ready.
Yeah, so it's 029 is the water. So that's because I've now got both injectors turned off. Because I've got to do the headlight settings.
Well, if the water's going up, then your water is injecting. The fireman seat also turns the auto fireman on or off. If that is not set, it doesn't matter what that was set to. So press Control R and just make sure your auto as fireman is on.
Now he's on. Yeah, boiler water is 0.30 now.
Yeah, that chair actually switches the fireman on and off.
Yeah. Yeah, boiler water level's now coming up. And looks like we're going to blow off in a minute as well.
Let's turn the blower off now. Definitely don't need the blower off. Dylan, do you know if there'll be any updates for the reverse issues? Truck frames going sideways glitch on the CPAC 4400. I don't know that, Dylan. Make sure you've reported that on the forum with a support ticket. Yeah, once you've got 3 or 4 rotations under your belt, you can close your drains.
Yeah.
We have many requests for the whistle.
You have many whistle options on here. What is the headlight button on this? Has anybody got the answer for what the headlight button is so you can go through the different settings?
You mean as in to put headlights on the front?
Yes.
Usually control 1, control 2, control 3, control 4.
Yeah, no, it's for the little set, you know the settings when you press the headlight button on the HUD. That's the bit I want.
H.
H does the headboards.
Does it? In that case,
Yeah.
I don't know. Ed!
Ed!
We can't use the headlight button on the HUD, JP.
Because if we use that, then the injectors mess up.
Can't remember it. It's been about 2 years since. No excuse. No excuse. No, H is doing the headboard.
Yeah, H is doing the
Steam Trains
headboard.
Unlimited is not actually asking for what the headlights are. He's asking for what the headlight button on the HUD does, which is to set the injector assists on.
Yeah.
No, because the minute you turn the HUD on, JP, it immediately messes up everything that's going on with the injectors. So you really don't want to have that F4 HUD on at all. The closest you can get is the F3 HUD. The F3 HUD is completely safe, but the F4 HUD you cannot have on a train like this.
Yeah.
Ed is saying your right injector is not on, so if you want to just double check your right injector.
Yeah, both injectors aren't on at the moment, so... let's go.
definitely get both injectors on. Go back in the cab and then just turn the steam injectors on. Train.
Right, there we go. That should have done it. Oh, there's a 9F here, by the way. There we go.
Wait, 0.18. This is going to end badly.
Yeah, the boiler water level is not coming up. It's not happening.
Your reverse is still way forward and you lift the brakes. Let's check your large injector on again. Probably kind of. Get that large ejector off.
Yeah.
Following the boiler pressure away.
Yeah. Our water level isn't very good. Boiler water level is at 0.12. Oh dear.
All we need now is for the gradient to go away. So both those injectors are on, are they? The steam injectors?
I think so. I've put it on the Loco assist. It's just, it sounds like the trims are just not happy.
It's the light's not set again. I can't remember what's set and what's not on this. It's difficult without driving it. Let's have a look at that right injector. No, the steam injector.
So both are on, as you can see, up here. And you're getting the hissing. Ah, hello. That seems to have calmed it down. Aha! There we go. It's coming up now. There we go. Oh dear, the funs of trying.
Right, get back in that. Turn that HUD off. It's gonna get in your way.
Turn the HUD off. Right. Let's start again, shall we? And I will leave the injectors to do their bit. There we go.
So you need to get your drains open. You need to get your reverser full forward.
Yeah, it's what I think it is. Oh, someone's King Sean has asked what class of locomotive we're driving. We're driving the rebuilt Royal Scot.
Yeah, you want to hold for a bit. You put your blower on, cut your regulator, put your brakes back on, and get your blower on because you're only down at 140. So.
Right, with most LMS locos, you've got to slam the regulator shut. As you see, because it bounces back up.
All the way up, all the way down.
There we go. That should have done it.
Basically, you've got to close the second valve, so you need to open it beyond the second valve to then slam it back down and close
Yeah.
that. Right, you've got boiler pressure coming back.
We're gonna get somewhere eventually.
Water going in.
Yeah.
We've got a coal level about right.
Yeah.
Boiler pressure's coming back up. Let's see.
Yeah.
Ed says, can the right trimmer be put all the way forward towards the front of the cab?
So which trimmer, Ed?
The right-hand one. I think you mean on the fireman's side. Is that right?
Fireman's side? You see, everybody's actually learning how not to do it. Yeah, that's all the way closest to me. Yeah. Yep. Well, that seems to be working. Boiler pressure's now coming up.
Yeah, when you get to about 200, release the brakes and go.
Yeah. Yeah, we are annoying the passengers.
Do me a favour, press control R. Oh, sorry, shut the automatic fireman off. Just for a brief moment. Because the automatic fireman has no idea where tunnels are.
Right. Yeah, and we don't want to blow back. Right, we're at 200.
Make sure your firebox door is closed before you go. That's coming off.
Yep, there we go. We're finally off again.
Can you make sure that firebox door is closed as well? It's still open.
Is it?
Yeah, we already got the drains open. Steam drains. So once you've done a few turns of the engine, you close it and you get more power. Let's make sure that's closed. Let's take that out. As you speed up, you need to be pulling that cut-off back.
Nearly.
Don't forget to manage that cut-off. Let's be bringing it quite a way back at this point. We're doing 20 miles an hour. That's it, we're rocking it now.
Yeah,
that reverser's not locked. Got a floaty reverser. We had a dream last night, you were playing with this in TSW. Nice, Samson. I have that dream all the time.
Yeah, Moggy, you say Scotsman's fitted with a bell in the US. Yeah, Royal Scot also went over to the US, wasn't it? I think. I don't think it's the same Royal Scot as the one that's preserved. I think they're two separate locos. I think.
Keep an eye on your reverser and your regulator. You're bending the boiler pressure at the moment.
There we go. JP said, thank goodness we got moving. Was about to raid Matt's Iron Brew and Jaffa Cates and Moggy's Ice Cream to keep the customers happy.
Water level is 34 at the 35 at the moment.
Yeah.
Steam trains. So water level's still going up. Fire mass is getting a bit tight, but we are going through a tunnel, so as soon as you get through this tunnel, get that automatic fireman going again and he'll feed the fire.
There you go. Get out from his seat. I love that, I must admit, every time you put that back when the fireman starts.
There you go. Got coal going in. Fireman's on the seat now. Yeah, the F5 is a bit hard to spec. I can just about see it. About 0.36 on the water I'm seeing. Fire mass is going up. Yeah, fire mass is still going up.
Yeah.
Boiler pressure is still going down though. Probably cut your regulator back a bit. You don't need to be running wide open. So the regulator display up on the left-hand side on the steam, on the F5 display is actually a steam chest.
Ah, right.
So that'll give you an idea of where your steam chest is at. So if it's sitting 100%, then your steam chest is maximum, and anything else, having the regulator open beyond that is pointless at best. At the moment, you're generating steam just about, floating between the two, so right. Cargan, this is a Bossman Games Loco, the Royal Scot. An excellent one it is too.
Once you've learned how to do the injectors, as I'm finding out.
First thing I do before I drive any Loco is I practice with the injectors just to get the hang of it, because it's easier when it's stationary.
Yeah.
You can hear everything that's going on.
I think the thing is I perfected it on the Black 5s, so I thought, for example, well, I'll be able to straight away use this and it should just, I should be able to get the same idea, but I was wrong.
No, Ed is always exploring new tricks and ways of tripping people up with his trains. Because Ed did the setup for this one.
Ah. Not too far now. Change the headboard again. It's amazing how many headboards this thing has got. There we go. Now we're on the right one.
Ed actually thinks this might have been down to a slight error on his part.
Ah.
Yeah, let's blame Ed. Let's blame Ed.
Yeah, we'll just blame you. Now coming into Dent.
The name's Dent. Arthur Dent. Hello, Dent. Arthur Dent. What a funny name. Yeah, we had some tense times there with this one. We got it down under 10% water.
Yeah.
You know, it's most people would have been parking and walking away very rapidly.
It would have been one of those slow walk.
Denying any involvement
Yeah.
at all. I don't think it would have been slow.
I think it would have been a slow, gradually getting faster and faster until you could sort of end up running, you know. When you see it, you sort of look at, you know, the passengers, you'd be looking out the window and go, why are they running away? Boiler pressure still going up. Speed is still going up. Water level still going up.
Good, it's all nicely balanced.
Yep.
She's galloping. You got a fire thing there, make sure the fireman's not on. Fire thing, top.
I noticed he's put the flap up, so he should be okay, I think.
The way it is. It's all good.
Yep. It's a lovely cab. I've actually been on a Royal Scot cab, and on Scots Guardsman's cab.
Very nice. Yeah, I must admit, steam chains, I'm exactly the same. I always enjoy driving a steam engine, particularly like Mesh Tools, Victory Works, Bossman Games, steam engines. There's so much in there, you've got to basically paying attention the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm learning that one. Sort of like cut-offs, your water, your fire mass.
Don't forget to put your fireman back on.
There he goes.
How far have we got to go according to the F3 display?
21 miles. So we're going to be quite
long.
late.
We're doing nearly 60 miles an hour, so it's 20 minutes. Matt has experience, he boiled a kettle once. Oi! I got somebody else to do it for me. It's all delegation. I asked somebody on the internet what happens, and therefore I'm now an expert. Yeah, see this trailer of Simrail. Yeah, I've seen the trailer for it. You know, all train sims are good. So I'm keen to see what they come up with. Difficult to say much more because it's not out. So. He also overboiled a Fowler 4F kettle once. Thank you for complimenting me by saying I only did it once. That's good. I lost count of how many trains I've overfilled, to be fair. It's just more and more obvious and embarrassing on a Victory Works train because it spews water out of the chimney. Which is hilarious.
Yeah, you'd be priming like anything.
This is completely new, Baked Bean Kid. I would Google it, you'll find out all the information on it.
Moggy said, oh, how many Vish vans were returned to the River Dart? Goes galloping now, doing well.
Yeah, you're doing fine now. You've still got a good boiler pressure up there, 230 psi.
Yeah. It took me a while to get to this stage, but we're there.
Yep. At least nobody's asked about the cabooses. It's fine.
Oh, hello. Got another Loco we're going to pass now. Got here. Looks like an 8, I think. Yeah, it's an AF. Yeah. Very mixed freight, there you go.
Water is at 65. We're going good. Steam Trains Unlimited.
Yeah.
Boiler pressure's fine, water's fine, coal is fine, so your housekeeping's good.
Yep. There's your nameplate, Queen Victoria's Rifleman.
F12 is not working. What does F12 do? Steam Trains Unlimited. Lewis, Jamie is driving.
Yep.
I'm just here heckling. I mean,
I'm tempting to learn how to fire and drive at the same time.
Oh, right. So F12 is the Steam screenshot key, isn't it? That suggests that one option is you've got another tool like maybe TrackIR or something which is interfering and overriding the function, or in Steam the function keeper's taking screenshots has been changed. Go into Steam's interface and find the screenshots settings and maybe reset it. Yeah, that F12 function is not a TS function, that's a Steam function. I was just setting the fruit free, baked bean kids. Oranges needed to be free. What's your speed limit?
60, and I'm currently doing 72, which is probably not a good idea.
Free range fruit, there you go.
Probably why we're wobbling about a bit.
See, compared to what I'm sure you'd actually do at this point.
Yeah. Actually blowing off now.
But now that you're off the regulator, we do need to keep an eye on the water, the boiler water levels so you can find. Bet you're fine at the moment, you're 65. Do you want to know how many full rocks I've refused? None at all. I have never ever done anything bad to a rock at all. I refuse to admit it, even if someone provides a video proof.
14 miles. Oh, he's certainly hot. On a downward hill, looks of it. Grading.
Yeah, I think once you get to Dent, you've kind of pressed into the crux of the climb.
Hello. Another Loco we're passing. What have we got now? Oh, another 9F. It's tankers. Different.
Nice.
Cab, there you go.
Daniel Kellerman, the extra layer is going to be added to the Augsburg Munich route. Hopefully, the team are working quite hard on the memory optimization work. And if we can hit the target we need to get to, then we'll be able to turn the layers on. So it really depends on whether we're able to save that much memory. The team are making good progress actually. So I'm quietly confident, but certainly not at a point where I can say yes.
It's behaving itself.
71 on the boiler water.
I know everyone will notice that I am speeding, but I'm making up for lost time.
Seems way too fast, yeah, he is rather bending the speed limits just a little bit.
Just a tad. Just a tad.
Well, the DJI Special come back to his coastman. It should still be there as a service within the service mode. It just isn't available as a select information scenario designer cabin. Let me know if that's not the case.
Here we go, reverse set to 25%.
Just a hillbilly, how many multi-40 feet does it take to screw in a light? The answer is there is only one.
Oh dear. No, another station. I'm not sure on this one. It's one route I have never actually been on. I've never been on the set on Carlisle.
He is now the Highlander. Nice use of stock in the system. Railway seems nice and living with
It
the
does,
various
doesn't it?
stock dotted around everywhere.
Lake Crest VR, you know. Oh, hello. Another train we're going to pass. Oh, another Bossman Games Black 5. There we go. Another mixed rate. There we go.
There are some people here who have never seen Highlander, but do they count, Oggy?
How we do it?
That was what, a B class going the other way?
Yep.
It is quite good, isn't it, Steam Trains Unlimited? It's a nice driver's challenge with plenty of stuff going on around the rest of the environment. Did you Gilly says, Jamie, you want to do it in summer when there are any specials there, the 3747 top tailing edition. I know there was a group of people in the company a few years went up on a run which was up the West Coast Main Line, then settle at Carlisle and then down. I can't remember what the rest of the journey was, but it was an 86 AC electric in electric blue hauling up. Then it was a Jubilee hauling across the settle at Carlisle. I can't remember what the leg back was. But that was apparently ridiculously good time.
Well, it's either going to be Galatea, which is currently renamed as something. Can anybody remind me what the name of it is? What's the name of it? Alberta, that's the one. So Galatea has been renamed as Alberta.
It's Galatea.
Galatea, yeah. And you got Leander as well. It's the other Jubilee. Well, Bahamas is back as well.
They've been yeah, speed limits are being fractured.
We are currently under the speed limit now, so...
Oh, we're actually in an 80 now, aren't we?
Yeah. Into the train, the speed limits are just guides.
Yeah, speed limits are guides, and signals are just hidden.
Yeah.
Does the steam trains sometimes drive on the main line with daily diesel or electric locos? So in reality, you have rail tour services, so they won't do it on a daily basis in the UK, and it is sort of becoming less and less at the moment for various reasons. But yes, there are mainline rail tours. You can go to uksteam.info, and you can get that website will give you a breakdown of all of the steam tours that are scheduled.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when the area is scheduled at the moment. So.
If you want regular mainline steam, you've got the Jacobite that's currently running at the moment. The other one is the Function Moors regularly runs steam on the main line from Gromont to Whitney. Oh, we got green, doing alright. Marked 5 miles. Seriously cutting down the arrival times, that's good. Yeah, Baby Kid, they would wobble about quite a lot. Even if I was doing, you know, this sort of speed, if you imagine doing 100 miles an hour on one of these, they would, you know. Got another loco.
I heard a story. I think this dates back to Midland Railways days, and this was on the Settler Carlisle line, where basically what would happen is they're going eastbound. They would get to a little bit before Den, and then this particular journey they had a journalist on board.
Yeah.
And just as they were coming through Den, the driver asked the fireman to stand back at the up against the tender where there's like the handrails were. He ripped his belt off and he belted this reporter to the tender to secure it in place. Of course, the reporter's like, "What the heck's going on?" And then the driver and the fireman wedged themselves behind their seats and gripped on, and then they went down the hill to settle. Basically, essentially out of control, because it was bucking so much, and they said, the driver said afterwards, it isn't coming off, but you're coming off if you're not tightly secured down. Yeah, it's you don't appreciate how much these things move around, off the how much you perceive the movement on it as well. Because again, on one of these rail tours, one of the legs was on an A4 on the main line, and there was a special opportunity for someone I know to get in the cab as it was belting down the East Coast main line, and it was absolutely. He said he was just absolutely holding on for dear life with this thing, just absolutely, all over the place. And he said it was really. It's not what you expect, especially, so a lot of people on, the forums and so forth that say that the track bump is too much and they don't bump that much. Well, actually, they do. And particularly in steep engines, they don't have particularly good suspension. And it's quite incredible. So yeah, this is from what I've seen in videos, this is mild. What we're seeing with this is mild.
Yeah. If you've ever watched like even American steam locomotives, you think the size they are. You see them like bumping up and down. You're like, what? You go and watch some American steam doing like a Malay doing over sort of 70 miles an hour. It's ridiculous how much they're bumping up and down. Bringing the speed down, so we're only 1.9 miles away now.
But what's a pair of bumper stocks with two friends? Future matchlets.
Yes.
Oh, check your injectors off. Yeah, I've just noticed that. Interesting. Just as you said that, I was looking up there and it's 1.99. Down to 50, but you're going uphill at the moment.
Yeah. I must admit, it's a lovely route. Really, really nice.
Yeah, it really is a nice route, yeah.
It really does capture the settle of Carlisle in the steam days.
Ed says, I remember getting a footplate ride 4 miles on the Super D. Even going 25 miles per hour on that thing after I got off, I was still rattling for about an hour afterwards.
I've driven a Dub D, 210 Dub D. That thing, it rocks. So it's going digga. If you ever watch a Dub D, if you look at its cylinders, you'll see it's actually rocking from side to side. It's incredible how much they rock. The driving one is even more amazing. At this rate, we're only going to be 15 minutes late. Which isn't too bad.
Well, Derek did a cab ride on the GP9 doing 25 miles per hour on a rough ride. Yeah, I think people just don't appreciate. A lot of people, unless you've been in a cab, you don't appreciate how bumpy it is. I did a cab ride in a Javelin on HS1, which is like one of the newest trains in the UK, running on some of the newest track in the UK. And I was amazed at how much you're buffeted around in the cab. I mean, it doesn't help that you're just in front of the bogies, which means you're the worst possible point of motion. But even so, it was actually quite amazing how much you're just gently, being rocked around on what otherwise, and certainly from the passenger compartment, is beautifully smooth. Will we stop before the platform?
I'll try not to.
Is that one of the reasons why trains these days have suspension on the axles and making this one? Well, even these trains, they're steam engines, got big springs on them.
Massive
They're just really, really coarse. But yes, that is. Suspension is always the goal of making the ride smooth. And that's why, for example, pacers are quite uncomfortable. Is because you've got two axles on each coach, so the whole coach is smoothing out the motion. Whereas on a more modern train where you've got twin axle bogies, the bogies will actually smooth out a lot of the motion. And what you get then in the passenger area on top of that is actually a sort of another layer of smoothed out motion, which is why it's a lot smoother. But then passengers are in between the two bogies, which means that also you're going to get less. If you think about it from the perspective of a pivot and how much the pivot moves, then you're inside the middle of that area where it's you're going to see a lot less of that movement. Whereas if the driver's seat is on the other side of it, where they're going to see the worst.
Just going to show the springs. Whether you can see them. Might have to go on the other side. The springs are sort of in here, they're all behind the wheels. They are massive. Bad luck, you failed to complete all the objectives. Yeah, well I was 15 minutes late. Right.
Yeah, leaf springs, that's it.
Right, I'll go and get the other one ready now. There we go. There we go, now loading. Moggy said 15 minutes late is positively early. Yes, it is in BR days, I think. Baby Kid 15 minutes late counts as 10 minutes early on Southern region.
15 minutes late, still early. It's it's any amount early in Southern region.
Yeah.
Well,
And we are
turned up.
Alright, the stock here has been checked and cleared. Forward, pull it forward and clear the switch, and then grab the wagons on Quincy Junction 1. So we'll go over to normal HUD now. Go.
Ooh, a U-boat.
Yep.
Feather River Canyon is a gorgeous route.
Go. And we're off. So from one side of the pond to the other now. Must admit, I do like the livery on this.
Yeah, the Western Pacific livery is quite nice. I saw that Gary at Higher Line Simulations have released the Western Maryland retro pack as well for the Hanover line, which looks interesting.
Does anybody know why they're called U-boats? I didn't even know they were called U-boats. Is there a reason why they're called U-boats?
Well, I know their classification is a U something. I think it's a U36B. And B is because of it's got B trucks. The 36 would presumably be usually down to the horsepower rating. Maybe the U is because of the cab.
Yeah.
Let me just Google it.
Google is our best friend.
Universal Series locomotive. Like you've got SD for SD, you've got special duties, GP, general purpose, U for universal. That's presumably a special kind of general purpose. I don't know.
Yeah. I do love the sound the wagons make, I must admit. It does feel like a very American. You hear the wagons just squealing. There you go. Right. Brakes off. Actually, I'll have to hold the brake down, which is interesting.
Chris, do we need to call Jill? Are we gonna go that far? Are we gonna have to call Jill? If Chris gets out of control with the bad puns, then his wife is on standby to get him under control.
Naughty. He'll be told off if you're not careful.
He's only allowed one joke a day now, apparently. I think that's very generous. You should be very thankful.
Yeah. Make sure I actually join up to the wagons. Last time I bumped these. This is, Moggy, this is an RB Jet scenario.
Streaming keeps you quiet. Does it though? Does it though? Yeah, I do like the RB Jet scenario.
Brandon has asked, what is your favourite American route, Matt, in TS2021?
So many. I like New York, New Haven for passenger stuff. See, my use of TS has been a lot less lately, so I've actually not used a lot of the newer ones. I've always liked New York, New Haven because it's got nice variety on it, particularly with the M8. I like Donna Pass because it's just a really nice freight route. But you've got things like this. But I must admit, I played this and Soldier Summit, which are really good routes. I played them less for no particular reason. And I like the Croton Harmon route. I'd probably play more a bit. If I get back into doing more with Train Simulator again. Because that one looked really good, and I played some bits and pieces with it. Am I a bit biased with New York, New Haven? It could be. I mean, I did help make it, so. No, it's my style of. Particularly with the M8 is kind of what I like to. That's my preferred type of gameplay anyway. So what else is there? I don't know. I mean, those are. I like commuter style operations. I like switching style operations. I do like a good mountain pass. So all that kind of thing. Soldier Summit is very good. Yeah, I like the extension of it, where you can go all the way to Robo. Is it? Moggy, those who can, shunt freight with a group.
Moggy would be the type of person that would just go and put a Gronk in every part of the world just so he can shunt it at different parts of the world.
He does enjoy spotting Gronks at every possible opportunity, because of course Gronks and the platform for the Gronk made it into all sorts of different countries. I found one the other day that was really interesting. It was a V50. Can't remember what country it was from, but it looked just like a Gronk.
I saw that.
I
saw that. Yeah, I remember seeing that. It was brilliant.
It's an Electro Gronk.
Electro Gronk, yeah. Well, you do have Electro Steam as well, haven't you? In Switzerland, was it Switzerland or Germany? They had Electro Steam.
Switzerland, yeah. Oh, Austria. It might have been Austria, but yeah, in one of these European places, they had pantographs on the steam engines.
But Moggy, have you driven a Gronk? Have you actually driven a real Gronk? Because I claim to fame I have done that.
Yeah, you've got the Hippel over there. It's not quite the same as a Gronk, I don't think. It's not like it's. I think it's just very similar look to it. But yes, the Hippel is also very nice. We've got an HO gauge model of that on the 1S model railway. It's one of those really nasty split chassis, which means it's about 2.5-3 hours to get that thing chipped.
Ouch.
I hate split chassis. I know why they do it, and it adds a lot of weight to the body. And I'm always complaining there's never enough weight in the bodies of these things.
Yeah.
And then when they fix it by doing split chassis, then I'm complaining about that, because apparently I can't be satisfied.
That's why I don't bother with DCC, because I'm just like,
Oh, I love DCC. I would never do anything without DCC on this now. Total convert. We could drive my dad's model railway from anywhere in the world, multiple people, never visit the railway at all, and still have just as much fun.
I'll do a bit of Colonel Camp.
I think I cuddled the pacer, didn't I, Moggy?
Really?
Yeah, when we all there's a whole bunch of us descended on crew at one of their last open days,
Blimey.
Someone found a pacer, so I had to go and say hello and express my affection.
Make sure we try not to run away.
This hill is about to get steeper. You need to get some of those dynamic brakes in. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know how to descend a hill with an American train?
No, I don't.
Right. Okay. It's get you learn on time. So descending a hill on an American train is more about the dynamic brakes.
Right. Which is
because
this
here? I can't see what you're pointing at.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, your dynamic brakes, so the top lever of the 3 blue. So you want to be using the dynamic brakes. The reason for using the dynamic brakes is that your air brakes, because they're operated via a triple valve, means you get one shot to release. So you can apply a bit, but all you can then do is a full release, which means if you over brake, you're fully releasing, and you end up finding that you want to leave it in setup for a bit until it starts generating amps. Okay, it is generating amps. That's it. You can see you're slowing down now. So because of that, what you end up doing is you use your dynamic brakes to try and get control of the train. If you find that your dynamic brakes are struggling, then you pop a minimum set on the air brakes, and then use your dynamic brakes. And effectively, because it can take a few minutes for the air to balance out across the train, so from when you apply some air brakes, it can take time for the train to figure out to settle down from that change. So you need to, again, just like with the steam engine, you need to be thinking way in advance and planning for your air brake changes, and also not overdoing it. Make small changes, because if you over brake the train, really you've just got to bring that thing to a stop, pin it down with a Loco brake, release the air brakes on the rest of the train, let everything pump back up again. Because the other thing American trains can do is run out of air, and then the only thing you've got is an emergency brake. And even not that long ago, 40 years ago maybe, they didn't have the emergency reservoir in all the wagons and the locos, which meant that once your service reservoir was empty, your brake pipe was empty, and your main res couldn't keep up, you just had a runaway train, and there was nothing you could do about it.
Wow.
So it's terrifying. It really is. And when you think about it, it sort of gives you a really good indication of the skill required from engineers to get these things safely down the hill. But it's just practice and understanding the balancing act that goes on between air brakes, which you make small changes to, plan and think about them in advance, never overreact to a change, and use a dynamic brake to actually then trim your speed. So that you can do it. Again, if you find your dynamic brake isn't coping, then you apply a tiny bit more air brakes, and you see whether that helps. It's really good fun once you learn how to do it. And that's where the challenge is. A lot of people have asked me in the past, and I asked the same thing actually when I started at Dovetail. I was really curious about, and I started talking to American enthusiasts who were in the community at the time about, so what is it about driving 25 miles an hour on a single track in trees? Tell me where the fun is, please. I don't understand. Because I was really struggling, but they were clearly having a good time, or wanting things. And I was like, there's something here I'm not seeing. And they started explaining to me that in the earlier simulation models for the brakes meant that the fun was boiled out, because the brakes reacted too quickly and too easily, and the dynamic brakes didn't always work quite the way they expected them to. So in the newer simulations, in fact, one of the things I spent time with one of the engineers at Dovetail with the Canadian Mountain Passes, we worked with the developer of that, and then we contributed the locomotive that comes in that pack, the ES40, and we did a bunch of scripting. And it was a first cut at trying to come up with a more accurate approach for the braking system, which is slow to respond with better dynamic brakes and so forth. So it was actually really, really tough to manage that down the hill. And it wasn't perfect, but it was definitely a big step in the right direction. But yes, the big challenge is managing these things safely down the hill. Now, in reality, there's additional challenges with the big long trains, because you're driving a train that's 2 miles long. Then at any given moment, it's going to be all different headings because of all the different curves it's going to be on. Some of it, several bits of it might be going downhill, while several bits of it might be going uphill. Depending on how bumpy the track is, which means that the chance of a coupler breakage is enormous.
It's something you see as well, because there's plenty of YouTube videos out there where you actually see the couplers break a huge amount of the time.
Yeah, so it's something that's that's not simulated in this or in Train Sim World, although I would love to do that. But it's and it becomes a real, and part of the reason is, and this needs to be in a difficulty setting really, is just because a lot of people will be smashing their couplings all over the place, because it's so easy to do that. That's the when you're going up and down a hill, if you know that half of your train is coming down the hill, half of it's going up, and then you apply some power, you might actually find that there was actually a snapback happening at some moment, and what you've done is you've exceeded the amount of weight that can be behind a coupling, and off she goes. That's it. That coupling snapped, and you're coming to a stop. Actually driving American trains is actually much harder, and certainly in the way it's done in the simulation, really it's all about coming down the hill. And also for going up the hill, it's about managing going uphill in low adhesion areas.
Yeah.
You know, particularly if it's snowing or something, and you're trying to manage a heavy train up the hill, which suddenly you can't just put it into run 8. You know, you've got to actually work out the right level of balance so that you can keep enough grip to keep it going, combined with a bit of sand. But obviously sand isn't unlimited, so you can't just sit there holding the sand button down.
No, definitely not. No.
Remember that scenario you did on your channel on Clear Creek line going downhill about 6 log behind you? You lost it completely on the first run, but it didn't. Sorry, Twitch did. You Restream didn't push the second bit of that, but yeah, vaguely. I vaguely remember many mistakes.
There's another one there. There you go. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, your dynamic brake, especially with a little train like that, your dynamic brake should by and large cope with.
Yeah, it's only I don't even know how many wagons we got on. Not many.
What you need to remember as well is when you put the dynamic brake into off, the next time you want to put it on, it needs to go into setup for 10 seconds before it'll actually take effect. That's why nothing is happening right now. Now you just notice it just snapped on. Actually, so now you put it into off again. Next time you put it on, put it into setup and leave it there for 10 seconds, and then move it into an application setting, and it will work properly.
Yeah, I've now put it into setup now. Because there's a delay, I now realise what you're saying. I've now put it into setup.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with brakes, David Knapman.
Yeah.
And there's different braking systems as well that work in different ways. And it's an intriguing subject, actually. It really is a really intriguing subject, just how different trains. So, for example, the HST uses a combination of EP brakes, electro-pneumatic brakes, and conventional air brakes. The two power cars talk to each other, and they use electro-pneumatic brakes. So when you apply the brakes on the power car, the rear power car immediately applies the same brakes through because it's being electronically told to apply the brakes, whereas the brakes in the coaches apply because the brake pipe is reducing and applies through the distributor in a more conventional fashion. So you got like weird combinations of stuff, as well as things like tube trains which use electro-pneumatic brakes, which is where effectively there's an electrical signal goes down and tells each individual car what to set the brakes to, so you get applies and releases instantly instead of relying on air pressures going up and down. But then you've got the Westinghouse brakes, which are the fallback, which is just using the brake pipe. So there's actually the whole system works in by and large the same way. It's then just these little different tweaks on it. And one of the things I was really fascinated to learn when I was trying to understand more about the American systems is how the American brake system evolved over time. All the little bits and bobs they added on to it, like a quick release reservoir, the emergency reservoir, and all these different things that they bolted onto the brake systems from their original system, so that they could get rid of some, or try and work through some of the little quirks and inadequacies and difficulties with the whole triple valve system, to make it a more usable system, because they never used to even have the equalizing reservoir. In the early days, the American locos didn't even have the equalizing reservoir, which means that the engineer would have to hold it in the apply, watch the brake pipe go down to where they wanted it, and then put it into back into hold to keep it there, which means they're paying too much attention to the brake needles and not enough to what's going on out the window. So they have, with the equalizing reservoir, you can very quickly drop the equalizing reservoir down and put it back into hold, and then the brake pipe will follow it in its own good time some minutes later. So little improvements like that, which just made the whole system easier to use.
The B&O Kingwood route has some of the scariest gradings with the switchbacks. Oh, there's one route I haven't done.
The B&O Kingwood is a fun route. Yeah, it's very good. Basically, an e-bell is a speaker, yes. It's an electric bell. What route is this? This is Feather River Canyon, Ben Snurrick. You can't get into the store via TS20. What, in-game? Is anybody else having any problems getting into the in-game store?
Yeah, I just saw that man on the wagon. I was like, why is he that? He's just like randomly sitting there.
So I don't think Unstoppable was about losing brake pressure, Cavs Photography. Unstoppable was actually based on a real incident where they disabled the safety systems, and because they were just doing little bits of shunting. I mean, you should never disable the safety systems, but you know, which meant that when they got off, he knocked the throttle setting, so that the Loco started running away on its own. Which meant that nothing would stop it. Normally, if you don't respond to the alerter, the train would come to a stop all on its own. But without the safety system switched on, it just runs away on its own. So you've got to get back in that cab to get that train shut down. I mean, the film wasn't without its flaws, but it was fun. It was entertaining. It was very entertaining. I really liked it.
Wasn't it one of the only films that has actually real locomotives crash in it? Wasn't it? It's one of the only films ever made, because most other films have used models, whereas they actually use real life locomotives.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
It fills me with tears to even think about it.
Now. There's another guy up there, look. What's he doing up there?
RB Jets likes his crazies.
I think what I've done there is done a boo-boo there. There you go. So I'm going to have to reverse with this. Easily done. Reverse out of it. Make sure I'm not
There's a film I hate because filmmakers made shots on different locations, assuming that no one sees it. I know, but they do that all the time, though. Or
yeah.
my other favourite one is where the exterior is one train and the interior is a different train. You know, the exterior shows like a high-speed train, and the interior is suddenly in a Mark 1 coach.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Right, there we go. So we've got to uncouple 546261. To 90, yeah. 261, which is that one.
Portillo's railway journeys are all. Yeah, I think something like that could be a bit more authentic.
That's correct.
Late Bean Kid says he's loaded up TS and can get into the store. Steam Chains Unlimited. Check to make sure your Steam. There's a Steam setting that says whether or not it allows the game online access. That would prevent access to the store. Essentially, what's happening is, if you mean that the button is greyed out, it means that the game is trying to access the internet and it can't. And there is a setting in Steam which disables it.
Right, there we go. Now go into the lead. To go. Right, lead, and we've got Kibble Engine Track, which is that one. Must admit, it's quite a massive route, this, when you zoom out. Look at that.
Huge. Yeah, this is a huge route.
Just got to go over to that side.
TGV replacements, Liam?
TGV replacements? I didn't know they were being replaced.
Neither did I. Hopefully with pacers.
High speed pacers.
Now, is there any reason why when you select the BR155 in Scenario Planner in TS2021, it often spawns a different loco? Yes, there is, and it's oops. So essentially, all the formations. It's a misunderstanding with how that stuff needed to work. Unfortunately, it is on the Preserve Crews team our job to take a look at and fix. Yeah, you've aligned because that's automatic, so that was done automatic.
Yeah.
So what happens is that the formations being used for the scenario designer are the same as the ones that are active for the.
Oh, there we go. Alstom building a new set due to enter service in 2022 based on the AVG.
And the EGV, yes. Yeah, so that's similar to the. I think similar to what's going on with Rebellion. But yeah, or no, actually no, it wasn't the AGV. It was. Is AGV the Avelia? I thought it was one of the AGV was one of the competitors for Avelia, but not the winner. I can't remember. But yeah, so what happens is the formations on Scenario Designer are the same as the ones used in service mode, so they have substitution enabled. And what happens is that when you pick a scenario, a formation, because even though you pick a loco and then a formation, what actually you end up doing is just a formation, and then it just does all the substitution stuff on it, which means that your loco sometimes changes, and sometimes other things change. The other things changing is fine, but your loco changing is not.
Right, we've reached the end of the scenario.
Well done.
Yep. So we got there in the end. We've made good time. I'm going to the office to see what's next, and I think they want us to work with this area for a little while before we head out to Orville. Up next, coming soon, yard work, Kettle, scenario complete. There we go.
Nice. Very well done.
Yeah, got there in the end.
Didn't break we didn't break anything. We became close, but we didn't break anything. Therefore, it all went perfectly well, and we'll deny it if anyone says otherwise.
Yep. And my driving will improve eventually.
Yeah, we're hoping.
We're hoping. Anyway, so that is us finished for tonight. That's both routes us done. So we had one was that was, I've forgotten the name of who did which one. I've forgotten who. I should have sent you the link.
So we had the Thames Clyde scenario from certainly the route from Stuart on the South Carlisle route, and I don't remember who made the scenario. And then we had the this one on the Feather River Canyon with the U36B.
There we go.
This is an RB Jet scenario.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
What's the next stream? What's the next stream?
I think it's me and Natalie tomorrow.
Woo!
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I think we're doing East Coast Way. I think tomorrow.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So you two are doing East Coast Way, and then what are we doing after that?
I'm not sure what's after that.
Okay. Well, keep an eye out on the schedule, folks. But tomorrow is Jamie and Natalie, so come and show your support. Yeah. All right, folks.
All right.
Good evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.